Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is So Goes Israel, So Goes America. Well, let's go back and look. Okay, so Israel, October 7th, 2023, had, and by the way, these numbers might not exactly be exact. Okay, I'm not trying to give you exact numbers, I'm trying to make a point. Some 2,500 people killed, 250 people taken hostage. What did America do? Well, America delayed shipments of weapons to Israel. As a matter of fact, Iran, Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, all Israel's enemies, all backed by Iran, have launched over 10,000 rockets. What would America do if Mexico or Canada launched 10,000 rockets to America? Over 10,000 rockets. Many Israelis have been killed by those rockets and many billions of dollars in damages. What did America do? Well, America's had inflation, the dollar falling. A Hurricane Helene killed over 2,000 people, so the local people say. Then we have Milton, the biggest storm in history, now heading towards Florida. Bible says, I will bless them that bless you, and I will curse them that curse you. We have not been Israel's friend over the last year, probably the last 3.5 years, truth be known. So consequently, what goes on with Israel goes on with America. Let me refresh your memory. Okay, so October the 2nd was trumpets. October the 9th, now this is the 9th broadcast, so probably today, you're not even here. I love my pre-tribbers, but they're so wrong, okay? And I'm going to enjoy pointing it out to them as those times come along. So here we are. Another rapture date passed by and we're still here, and there was no pre-trib rapture. Okay, it's not going to be there. Anyway, let me get to the point here. Okay, then if you look over on the 11th, that's the atonement. That also could be the Jubilee, and that starts a year of Jubilee when the debts are removed, the slaves are set free, and it could be what Shane Warren was talking about when there's a wealth transfer into the church. And then the BRICS are having a summit October 22 to 24, and a lot of people think that they're about to release their BRICS currency, and that could cause the fall of the dollar. So if you look at these, you'll see here we are today, September coming into October with all other things, but I want you to call your attention to the bottom left where it says counting of the Omer. That's when we can probably look for part of what I'm going to cover today is that a new Madrid earthquake. Okay, next headline. Did Hurricane Milton have help in suddenly becoming one of the most powerful storms in U.S. history? This normally doesn't happen. During regular times, a hurricane is not supposed to go from Category 1 to Category 5 in less than a day. But at this moment, the roads out of the Tampa Bay are absolutely jammed with vehicles as local residents attempt to get out of the path of the coming storm. We literally just witnessed one of the most destructive hurricanes in U.S. history, Helene, and now we're being told that the Hurricane Milton could also be one of the most destructive hurricanes in U.S. history. So what in the world is going on here? Well, I'm going to be breaking up several of this 2.5-hour DVD called Russia's Secret Weapon to Destroy America. It's talking about scalar wave. And it will explain to you that they've had this weapon since back in the 60s, and it's exactly what it could do. And I think they're using this man-made, it was actually invented by Nikola Tesla, man-made weapon to bring in climate change, to use that as an excuse to bring in their new world order and put their man, the Antichrist, on the throne. Back to the article. With winds of 160 miles an hour, Milton has strengthened into a second Category 5 hurricane of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. Hurricane Beryl was the first storm to reach Category 5 status, doing so while it was traversing the Caribbean Sea in early July. Milton was only a tropical storm on Sunday morning, but winds ramped up at a tremendous pace, spiking from 60 mile an hour to 160 mile an hour in just 28 hours. Additionally, an abundance of lightning has been flashing around the eye of Milton, that scalar wave, an indication that it could still be strengthening. Okay, it's not lightning from the storm, it's lightning from scalar wave. But that wasn't the end of it. Just a few hours later, it was being reported that Hurricane Milton had sustained winds of 175 miles an hour. Well, Hurricane Milton has grown into an explosive Category 5 storm with sustained winds of 175 miles an hour just 2 days after it developed in the Gulf of Mexico, forecasters said. The hurricane was expanding and intensifying quickly Monday, while tracking eastward over warm Gulf waters, with the latest growth happening much faster than forecasts suggested. Okay, they're trying to prove that they can change the weather and they can cause climate change. And as a result of that, you got to do all this green stuff. You got to give up your weapons, got to have a world government. All this is all coming out of scalar wave. Again, I'm gonna put the information up so you can watch it. Milton is expected to bring life-threatening conditions to parts of Florida, potentially as early as Tuesday. Milton's wind surged to 175 miles an hour Monday, exceeding the threshold for Category 5 by a significant margin. According to the latest update from the National Hurricane Center, the storm's wind speeds more than doubled in the last 48 hours. Just a little while ago, we were told that Hurricane Milton now had sustained winds of 180 miles an hour. Hurricane Milton strengthened to a Category 5 powerhouse Monday, driving sustained winds of 180 miles an hour as it rolled across the Gulf of Mexico, bound for what could be a devastating crash Wednesday along Florida's already storm-battered western coast. The National Hurricane Center said on its 5 p.m. advisory that Milton had reached those rare wind speeds 3 hours after warning the hurricane had explosively intensified to 175 miles an hour. Come on now. This isn't supposed to happen. No, it's not supposed to happen, especially in October or any time of the year. But on Monday alone, the storm's wind increased 90 miles an hour. That's nuts. No, that's scalar wave. One meteorologist was literally, quote, on the verge of tears as he discussed how powerful the storm was becoming. Meteorology expert John Morales was on the verge of tears as he reported on what has come for Florida Live on NBC6. It's just an incredible hurricane. It has dropped, Morales said before pausing, visibly emotional. It has dropped 50 millibars in 10 hours. I apologize, this is just horrific. A lot of people have been searching for Category 6 hurricane Google, and USA Today published an entire article that speculated that a, quote, hypothetical Category 6 could soon be added to the scale that we use to measure storms. In other words, there's never been a storm this big, this powerful, but truth be known, they can probably make it even more powerful. The rapidly developing hurricane that shows no signs of stopping won't technically become a Category 6 because the category doesn't exist at this moment. But it could reach that level of hypothetical Category 6 experts have discussed and stir up arguments about whether the National Hurricane Center long-used scale for classifying hurricane wind speeds from Category 1 to 5 needs a complete overhaul. America's under attack. America is under attack. This is a once-in-a-century storm. No, this is more like a once-in-a-lifetime storm. But of course, we just witnessed a once-in-a-century storm. Now, what's going on? Let me remind you. Now, let me go through this. I know I've covered it many, many times. But if you haven't written this down, you're making a mistake. You need to have this written down because my guess is, I thought it was going to happen next year, but good. We were spared from it last year or this year. But next year, I mean, that is unless this war with Hamas and Hezbollah and these other companies with Israel, unless it continues for a whole nother year, all of this is probably going to happen next year. Okay, so let me get to my point. April 15, 2002, as I've said many times, Leslie had a dream. She was shown that Arafat would go into the hospital and die there. Now, that was incredible because he wasn't even allowed outside of his compound. So to make that prophecy, send it out to all of our supporters, put it on radio, and I think at the time we're on TV too, very risky. But 2 years later, 11/11/04, 3:30 a.m., he died in the hospital just as she was told. Now, the rest of it is that Israel will give the Palestinians a state. Now, that right there is the very thing Israel says it's not going to happen. And right now, the rest of the world says it is going to happen. The Palestinian state would be a temporary measure. In other words, Israel doesn't really want to split, but they're forced to split and allow the Israelis time to strengthen their military. So that's why they capitulate, because they see they can't defeat all of these Islamic neighbors around them. Then oil is going to be discovered in Israel, and I think I know who's going to discover it. The oil will make the Jews willing to fight for the land, not only for the oil, but the oil also gives them the money to strengthen the military. Then, as I said the other day, Israel and America will go against most of the rest of the Arab world. So as I see it, there's 3 wars involving Israel. One is now October 7th. The next one is after oil is discovered. I think that's when Israel will get back all of the land from the Euphrates to the Nile. Then there will be peace in Israel. Ezekiel 38 clearly says, in other scriptures, 2 or 3 times, that Israel will be dwelling safely, all of them, when Armageddon comes up. The third one is Armageddon, where the Russians and all of her Islamic hordes come down to attack Israel. They think they're going to wipe Israel out, and Jesus returns and sorry, no, you're not going to wipe out Israel. Jesus wipes them out. Now, I'm still getting to my point here. So then, January 22 of 2006, these came to her in audible headlines. This is going to tie together in just a second. Stay with me. She heard Omar ushers in Palestinian state. Now, this is not the order she heard them. Actually, the first one she heard was Israel refuses help to America. And so this might not necessarily be the order. This is the order I think that they will happen, and my guessing. Omer ushers in Palestinian state. The only thing we can come up with is the Omer is the counting of the Omer, which is the 49 days between first fruits and Pentecost. And in 2025, it is April 13th through June 1st. So, if we're going to see the conclusion of the January or the October 7th war in Israel conclude in 2025, my best guess it'll conclude during those times, April 13th, June 1. Now, I have 12 prophecies that say that if America splits Israel, God will split America. And I've got another one now. I guess I'd have to call it 13, but I'll get to that. The second one is catastrophe. This is a newspaper headline. Catastrophe hits America. Now they're calling these hurricanes catastrophes, but oh, you wait. Let me read this new information that I got, and this is going to beat it. This is going to beat it. So catastrophe hits America. As a result of that, America's next headline is one of America's greatest times of need. That's right. It just almost destroys America. And America asked for the world to help, and its good friend Israel, which now had their land split, is not willing to help America. It refuses to help America. Then the Arab world sees their opportunity and says, hey, America's down on their knees. Israel didn't help America. Right now, Israel and America's relations are not real good. Now's the time to hit Israel. So Israel is attacked, America sends troops, and that's what this one, very bottom line here, that's what that one's talking about. That ties together with this one. Then chaos reigns as Americans protest help to Israel. Now in 2006, we would not have thought that there would be anybody in America protesting help to Israel. But now, you better know that there would be protesting. Then she heard my voice, quoting Dmitri, it will start with an internal revolution. So, what we think we're going to see between now and January is not the internal revolution. But as you look at this, probably the internal revolution will start. 25 would be a little early, because we still got to have another war where Israel is attacked, America sends troops. 25 would be a little early. 26 on the borderline, but probably by 27, 28, and almost for sure 29. Now, let me get to the new information. This was given to Brandon Biggs back in June 2023. In this dream, the Lord showed me a massive earthquake that was going to happen in America and was on the New Madrid Fault. Now, that's the same thing Shane Warren was told. So, matter of fact, this is the 13th one that has been shown this. It was the largest earthquake ever on Earth. Wow. Now, think about that. The Mississippi River collapsed. They all fell, all of the bridges along the Mississippi River. The Lord showed me things on fire. It was total devastation. It went down to New Orleans area and up to the Chicago area. Okay, that's what the other ones have seen too. It was massive. All of the bridges fell, so there was no way for semi-trucks to move from east to west. The Army brought in bridges that were floating bridges and put them up and down the highways, trying to get the trucks to move for emergencies, but they couldn't get them to work. That's the same thing, that floating bridge. They tried to do that in Israel here recently, and it didn't work there either, started sinking. The trucks couldn't move from east to west, so they brought in planes. They flew food into cities where the semi-trucks couldn't move back and forth. They were bringing huge cargo planes flying in emergency food throughout the cities in America. The Lord showed me massive helicopters, like Chinook helicopters, were flying from the west. In my dream, I stood on the back porch and I could see the fires and smell the smoke. My neighbors were all inside watching the devastation on TV. Then the Lord took my eyes to a stone lion's face. He said, "Look at the New York Stock Exchange," and I saw a stone lion. The next day I searched, and sure enough, there is a stone lion on the top of the New York Stock Exchange building. Now, this next thing, we've never been told this in any dream. I saw the streets of New York completely empty. I could see tumbleweeds. I saw tumbleweeds growing down the street, and it was desolate. There was nobody moving around. The people were not there. The whole government, everything was shut down. Now, why? Okay, pandemic, maybe, or maybe that is still shaking so much, nobody wants to be in those tall buildings. The Lord showed me another earthquake between Texarkana and Tulsa, Oklahoma. I could see that all the houses that were built on cinder blocks, not on a flat slab, were completely destroyed. In other words, because they're on cinder blocks, they swayed like this and crumbled. There were about 1,800 people that were killed in that one earthquake, which is why it would be a very good idea if you have one of these satellite phones. I've got one laying beside me here. Sat123.com, use the promo code Prophecy for anything on the website. Yeah, it helps your Prophecy Club, but it'll get you communication. As you know, right now, what is happening in North Carolina, they're having to use satellite phones to communicate. Satellite phones are the only thing that'll work, because cell phones, it's all dead, it's all down. Satellite phones still work. And they not only have satellite phones, they have satellite hotspots, so you can connect to the internet. They also have them for boats. Might need that too. Satellite radios, all sorts of stuff. They have lots and lots and lots of stuff. Sat123.com, promo code Prophecy. Sat123.com, promo code Prophecy. In 2021, I started making bread. And long story short is I believe God showed me that wheat is God's famine food, just like it was famine food back in the 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine, days of Pharaoh and Joseph. And I believe that that's what God has planned to feed his people. And you get it by going to josephskitchen.com. 3 steps. First, you want to get a machine package. Second, you want to order 6 ingredients and watch some videos, download the recipes to be able to make the bread. josephskitchen.com. Most of your long-time storage food, emergency food, all of that, typically are talking $9,000, $10,000 to feed one person for a year. Joseph Kitchen can show you how to do it for around $1,000 a person, and your kids will actually eat it, and it's actually good for you. Here's some bread that I made. In my case, I lost weight, lowered my blood pressure, gives me more energy. I eat a morning, slice in the morning, slice in the afternoon, always a slice before I go play racquetball. Go check it out, josephskitchen.com. If you don't want to lose your life's savings, if you have an IRA or a 401k, the thing to do is call 800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. These folks are Christians, and they specialize in helping people not lose their life savings in the event of a stock market crash and things like that. Look, most of the 401ks, most of the IRAs are in paper, backed by paper, and as Lindsey Williams says, if it's in paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. You can lose it all. 1-800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. Hey, give them a call. Doesn't hurt, doesn't cost you anything. See if they can give you some good advice. When the suitcase nukes, I didn't say if, I said when the suitcase nukes go off, if you want your car to start, if you want your computers and your refrigerators and things like that, anything with a computer chip to work, you want to have one of these from EMPShield.com. EMPShield.com. And they have videos up there. It takes about 10 minutes to put on. It's not complicated at all. And if you use the word prophecy, promo code prophecy, you get a $50 discount, and it helps your Prophecy Club. Okay, the very best offer we have ever had of the Prophecy Club is 40 books for a gift of $100. That is How Pre-Trib Won, Tribulation Secrets in Daniel, God's Warnings to America, Miss the Mark, and The Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy. I'll explain. As I've said many times, in 2017, I memorized the book of Revelation. I got 30 revelations, 2 visions, and an audible voice. God showed me a secret door, the word first fruits, which is found in Leviticus and also Revelation, that links the feasts to the prophecies of Revelation. And perhaps for the first time, Revelation can be understood. One prophetic word said, there's a lock. I put over every word in the book of Revelation. I'm going to open it to you. It will turn many books written on the end-time message into obsolete books. That's this book. Secondly, I put together a collection of the very best prophecies from 32 years in Bible prophecy: Dimitri Duduman, Michael Boldale, Leslie Johnson, Henry Gruver, Shane Warren, Terry Bennett, Maurice Sklar, Augusto Perez, Doug Metzger, Bree Keaton, and more in God's Warnings to America. Also, how do you talk to people about the mark of the beast, especially if they worship another god? Well, simple way is give them this book. It's a quick read, takes about 3 hours to read it, but if they'll read 2 or 3 pages, they'll probably read the book, and if they read the book, they will never take the mark of the beast. It explains both the mark of the beast and also the number of the name, and it has these pictures in the book. Finally, How Pre-Trib Won. This book explains the truth about the rapture. It gives 4 foundations for the real truth about the rapture. It also answers 25 pre-trib questions, 1 for $20, each one of these typically, but don't do that. We offer them in shrink-wrap sets. The very best deal is go to prophecyclub.com and get the entire 40-book set for $100. I didn't cover every verse in the book of Daniel, didn't need to. I just covered the verses that has to do with us end-time saints. And it's called Tribulation Secrets in Daniel, 1 for $20, 10 for $30, 20 for $50 at prophecyclub.com.